Okay, fellas, I've wet the scales of the knife down and de-whiskered twice, and as you can see, it's fairly slick looking. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to start the process of staining the wood. I'm going to make sure I've got all the dust wiped off of it. I'm going to set it on my pants leg so as not to pick up any dust off the table again. And what I've got here is some antique wood stain that I get from Dixie Gun Works. Works real good on maple. It gives, depending on the piece of maple, a reddish to brown stain. Like I said, depending on the piece of maple. I've got just a cotton swab here, and I'm going to get some of the solution, and I'm just going to start coating the scale down real good with it. So you can see that right now as it's wet, it's giving kind of a reddish brown color, but as it dries it may come out another color. So what I'll do is I'll get up and down that side, I'll switch over to the other side. Which is probably a lot of fun for you people to watch, but you know, there might be something you pick up that I'm doing if you decide to build one yourself. But you try to get it as even as you can, get everything covered. And we'll switch over to the sides, or top and bottom, as you will, whatever you want to call it. And we'll continue rubbing it on. Trying to look and see if there's any spots that we missed covering. Of course, I haven't ordered these scales. You know, it probably comes from different places, different trees, different types of maple. So that can have an effect on your color. Make sure we get both ends of it. That's one thing you'll notice. I mentioned that end grain burning. That end grain takes the stain a little bit different. See, it's kind of a darker color than the rest of it so far. So I need to get my ends down at my blade. May need to pick up just a little bit more to get it coated good. You'll notice I've got tape on these scales too. This thing is not sharpened to a razor sharpness, but it's sharp enough that it will cut you and hurt you. So that's just a safety precaution you might want to take. I'm going back over where I've already been a little bit, because this wood will soak some of that stain up. As you can see, it looks a little bit lighter color right there. Missed a spot right there. Get it coated down real good. Look back over and see if there's any spots I've missed. Any light spots, go back over them. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, this solution is alcohol soluble. You can actually cut it down with alcohol. But what I like to do is just take some plain rubbing alcohol, dampen the paper towel a little bit, then I'm going to wipe back over what I've already done. Take a little the excess off, and it actually seems to rub that finish down into that grain a little bit more. And you may have, as you can see right there, a couple of light spots. You're largely dependent on the wood, how that wood wants to take that stain. Alright, wants to rub down in there. What I may do on this one, off camera, is I may come back and try to put just a little bit of a light coat on it again, any place that looks light, and see if it will take it. As you can see, we've rubbed it down. It's kind of a reddish color right now, but when it dries it may take on a little bit more of a brown undertone. But you can see that stain's gone down into the curl, that maple, really, really well. So we'll let this dry really good, and we'll come back in the next part and show you where we're at and what we're going to do next. Okay, I let that stain dry for a while, and since that's a liquid and the alcohol was a liquid, it raised the grain somewhat on that piece of wood. So I saw something on another channel, don't remember which one it was right off the top of my head, but we're going to take some fine steel wool, and we're going to go over the top of that finish to take some of that whisker out of it, if you will, until it feels good and smooth. Turn it over and do the other side, and the top and the bottom. It feels smooth. That feels good and smooth. Do the end just a little bit, even though it comes out a little bit darker. Okay, so that feels pretty slick, and as you can see, that came out more of a brown color. You know, a different piece of wood may take on a different color. As I mentioned, just like this one, it's more of a reddish tone. It just depends on the piece of maple. So we'll come back in another video, and I'll show you how I put the finish on. Thanks for watching. Keep your powder dry. Mind your top knot, Pilgrim.